my name is Maggie Barry, and you're watching The Green Room, a behind-the-scenes web series that pulls back the curtain on some of the most exciting new projects happening at the Fifth Avenue Theater. Last episode, we began diving into the brand new Fifth Avenue-produced radio play, Half the Sky, and what it's all about. In this episode, we are going to focus in more on why this story is being told now, during a year that has been incredibly challenging for everyone, to say the least. We wanted to explore how the creative team behind Half the Sky and the Fifth Avenue as a whole navigated it all while developing this show. We sat down with Bill and Bernie to learn more.
I'm Bernie Griffin, and I'm the managing director of the Fifth Avenue.
I'm Bill Barry. I'm the producing artistic director of the Fifth Avenue Theater. I'm much more involved in the very early process of figuring out, do we want to do this project? How do we want to do this project? And then so many other amazing people at the Fifth Avenue actually pick it up from there and run with the ball and figure out how to actually do it. And of course, with this project, that's been all the complications of, it's a radio play, and normally we do shows on a stage, and also everyone's in different environments and can't come into the same space because we have COVID.
I think that both the journey of the piece and the piece itself, it is about climbing Mount Everest, but it really is, the human experience of having courage to jump from point A, not necessarily to point B, because we don't know what point B is, but jumping from point A and to have the courage of spirit to do that is, really remarkable. And that's what I think, that's what we all strive to do as far as, letting go of our fears and what we think is going to happen and just saying, I've got faith. I got faith that I'm going to get to wherever I'm supposed to go.
I am just really drawn to the storytelling in it and what that story is about the young Asian American woman who wants to climb Mount Everest and is on this journey, and on the journey learns so much more than she expected to learn. And I think that's so true about journeys. We end up experiencing, we think we want to do A, and then we go on the journey and B, C, D, E, F, G all happen. And we learn so much more than we ever could have thought possible, and we grow and evolve. And I found that story to be powerful in this moment in time when I think we're all learning and growing based on the things that are being put in front of us that are not what we expected.
The difficulties of this year have certainly been obstacles for this production team to overcome. But even from the inception of this musical, Tataya and Isabella understood the importance of telling the story despite all odds.
I can't speak for people who do climb Everest, but I do believe the desire to summit the highest mountain in the world is related to a desire to confront death. And that's something that I think everybody can relate to because we're all on that path, right? No matter who you are, no matter, where you are or what your experience is, that's the path that we're all on. I just thought, wow, we can take this really specific character who wouldn't normally be a hero or the protagonist of a musical, put them in this really exciting situation, infuse the musical score with the traditions of the region, the Himalayan region, and also of her Thai background. And through her eyes, we can come face to face with this huge philosophical question, what it means to lose someone and to go on living.
As you're conquering the mountains, I guess the great climber needs to know when to turn back. And that in a way, it's like a philosophical thing to ask ourselves, when to know that we shouldn't keep pushing.
Yeah, I'll just add one thing before I forget. We could have made this show a one-person show, like a solo performance piece or one actor who kind of embodies all these, maybe some different people, but really all about one person. For some reason, we just didn't want to do that. I think our initial instinct was, Everest is part of this really eclectic global community, and it attracts people from all over the world. And that was one of the things that excited us about the potential for the story, was just putting those people on stage together. You're dependent on the other people who are also there. Oftentimes, you're literally connected by a rope together. Other people's decisions have huge ramifications on that mountain, and you really are putting your life in other people's hands. And that also is something that has really resonated in the pandemic.
With Asian representation serving as a core value in this production, casting the right group of performers to play the characters in Half the Sky was vital. We sat down with the actress playing Eve to hear about her experience with the process, as well as her feelings toward making a musical under such unprecedented circumstances.
Hello, everybody. My name is Diana Huey. I play Eve in Half the Sky. Eve is Orly, the main character's little sister, and I have been a part of the project for about 9 months. It was the last thing I did before the shutdown. I love this show for a lot of reasons. One definitely would be Isabella and Tataya, the writers. Just to have two young female Asian writers, and that our director is also, an Asian woman. It's really cool to have this diverse team telling this story. And also because of everything that's gone on in 2020, both with racial things as well as learning to deal with grief and loss, it's sort of a very timely piece told in a different way. It's a story about Everest, but it's also mainly a story for the main character to deal with the loss of her sister. And how do you continue life, and how do you move on from this, and how do you grow, and learning to sort of breathe with that and be okay with that. And so it's a very timely piece, and then just like beautiful music, very fun characters. So it's a fun adventure piece, and it's also a lot of healing and dealing with grief.
Half the Sky was in the works for 2 years before it was chosen as the first of 3 radio plays produced by the Fifth in the current season. It was on track to develop as any stage musical would when Broadway and the theater world were operating as normal. However, once the pandemic really hit the US, there was no clear blueprint for how the industry was to move forward. The Fifth and other theaters worldwide had to rethink their approach.
We then, coming into this year, really wanted to tell new stories in new ways because everything is so different right now. So we came up with this idea to do musical radio plays, and Half the Sky popped into our mind as a story we really want to tell. And we want our patrons and subscribers to be able to hear, as well as our community. Then we went forth with making a plan of how we were going to record and put together this series.
I really appreciate the Fifth Avenue and then Half the Sky. I can't wait to listen to the show when it comes, and I have a friend who are very interested, and my families are very interested to it. It makes me feel like something that I'm proud of.
Working on this radio piece has only deepened my fear of doing this piece in real life. Every time we developed the piece in a workshop, you just think like, how am I going to stage this? What's the set going to look like? How do you put a musical on a mountain? The characters are wearing like triple layer snowsuits. There's oxygen masks. How are you going to sing with an oxygen mask on your face? How are you going to sing with that? How are you going to dance with puffy jackets? And I don't know how to do this. And so when Bill and Kelsey reached out to me about doing a radio version of the musical, I was like, oh my God, that's the best idea, because I can actually do the musical without fussing around how do I make Everest happen. I can actually work with Brendan Hogan, who's a genius, right? And realizing the sound, the scope of the musical is so much larger than anything I could put in the theater. And so when you expand it to make it the cinematic, right, fully produced oral experience where I'm left to my own thoughts to imagine it, it's amazing.
So we've all learned about Half the Sky and why it's so admirable and so important that this story is being told now. But if you're anything like me, you're wondering, how does it actually happen? How do artists from all over the world create a musical at this scale? And how is the Fifth Avenue ensuring that the recording and production of this radio play stays safe during a global pandemic? The answer to those questions and so much more will be featured in our next episode. Catch you next time on The Green Room.
The Green Room is shot, written, and directed by Maggie Barry and myself, Emilio Miguel Torres.
This series is made possible by the Fifth Avenue Theater and all their amazing sponsors.
We want to give a huge thank you to all of our interviewees who gave us their time so we could provide informative entertainment for all of you.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and share it. And if you want to continue watching the series, make sure you follow the Fifth Avenue on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe to their YouTube channel.
And if you'd like to know more about us, our information is to the right.
And if you've stayed this long, comment your favorite animal.
Thanks for watching.